Podcast is going to be a little different today, or this month, I should say. I haven't invited a band out. I wanted to do it on my own. It's a holiday again. It's actually Christmas. Merry Christmas to anybody who celebrates. Happy holidays to anybody who celebrates a holiday but not Christmas. I wish everybody well and a great month and a happy new year. But this one's just going to be me. By choice. I had bands lined up that wanted to come out, and I declined because I just wanted to have a personal chat with the people who are actually subscribing and listening in and taking the time to tune into this small little channel of ours. So, yeah. This is my vocal booth. It's got lights and a microphone and a nice little clipboard. And the reason that I'm telling you all this stuff is because my wife, Crystal, has decided that it's time for me to tell you about my soapbox. I like to talk. I talk quite a lot. And when I'm very opinionated, I stand in here, no matter what we're having a conversation about or where I am in this room, I stand in here and I make my statement. So she calls it my soapbox. So, welcome to the soapbox. Hey everybody, welcome to Recalled Podcast. My name is Josh. I'm the vocalist of Recalled the Moment. And this is the podcast that we do every month. And as the intro had said, this one's going to be a little different. It's more personal, channel updates, and things that are going on around the band. So it's going to be short little clips in and out, sometimes not necessarily directed towards the band, but my own personal opinions. So just bear with me. It's the first time we're using this camera in this setup, so it's just going to be a little different. A question that has been asked of me several times in the last couple of months is, where's Justice? He's not on the podcast. Nobody's really heard from him. His Facebook's kind of dormant. And the honest answer is, I can't really talk about it a whole lot, but he's incarcerated. If you would like to go through public records and figure out everything on your own, by all means, you are your own person. I'm not going to, talk other people's business, but it does relate to the band that where he is in this time. He's been gone for a couple of months now, and what happens after that, I don't know. Is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? It's all up in the air. So, your guess is as good as mine. Whether he is here or not, the band will go on. The YouTube channel will continue, and I will still be here. I'm going to do this podcast every month, and we are still going to be releasing music. But on the justice end of it, I don't know yet. Spotify, I have heard of the new terms and conditions that they're going to be going through. Spotify is making it to where you have to meet a certain threshold per song in order to become monetized on that song going into 2024. Now that means a lot of small creators and musicians aren't going to be getting paid anymore, and that money is going to be getting sent to a pool, and that pool is going to be divided against all the people who are getting money from Spotify. Bigger musicians are saying they're going to boycott Spotify and remove their music from Spotify in solidarity of small creators who aren't going to be getting paid anymore, as like a sign or a symbol that they stand with the small creators. I am a small creator. I don't make a whole lot of money on Spotify, and I'm probably not going to hit the threshold next year when Spotify makes all of these changes. There's not a whole lot I can do about that, and there's not a whole lot any of us can do about that. Spotify is the big dog in the music distribution realm right now. They are the place people go to listen to music. And if I want to get my name out there, I currently have to use Spotify to do that. I'm not saying I'm ride or die for Spotify. But that being said, there's nothing really as big as it right now. So there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Now, when something else comes across that is as big as Spotify and can get my name across and will be able to monetize me, yeah, sure. I'll definitely move into that realm when that happens. But right now, there's nothing we can do about any of it. If you want your name out, you have to use Spotify. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't usually choose Spotify for my listening needs in the first place, but most people do. So that's where I stand on that. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the gear that we use around here, and how it all evolved throughout the years. For the last 10 years, I was using something called the Tascam DP24. And that's how I recorded music and was able to get a message out, or at least track something so that I could hear it back to myself. Over the years, that's kind of grown and evolved. And once we started talking with our producer, he practically showed us a whole new way to do things. My first visit with him, he was working on a computer, and it was the first time I had personally been interacting with a doll, and this was last year before, so this shows how old school I am. And I was fascinated, and he offered that if I purchased the equipment, he would help me pick out the equipment and teach me how to use it, and that's where we're standing now. So we started off with a Tascam DP24, and just this last year and the year before, we've upgraded to a computer with studio monitors and a DAW. That DAW is Studio One. I love it very much. I'm learning more about it every single day, and it's enjoyable to use. I've learned so much on Studio One. Things I thought I could never do, I can do now because I have a means to do them. And I was very anti-DAW for quite some time. I didn't want to switch over. I wanted to be like one of the real ones. But it is what it is. It showed me a whole new way to record, and I enjoy it. So now we use the Studio One. The camera gear that we're using is a handful of zoom cameras, Q8Ns. It's nothing fancy around here. It's what we could afford. It's what we could find. It's what we knew how to use, or was easy enough to use to get us going. As for drums, we do use MIDI for the most part, but they're written on a drum kit, an E-kit actually, the Alesis kit, which I believe is a Surge. What we'll do is I'll record the drums the way that I want them, and then we'll edit them in Studio One. As for guitars, everybody's got their own favorites. I personally like BC Rich and Jackson, so those are the two that you're going to see mostly in videos and stuff. For me, myself, Justice typically likes to have an Ibanez around, so when he's in the picture, he's going to be using an Ibanez, almost guaranteed every single time. Microphones, this is the one we're currently using, which is an AKG P120. And the vocals, there's not much we can do around here. We have no closets in the room that I have to record, so we bought this little changing room that is now my soapbox, and kind of converted it into a makeshift vocal booth so that we can get rid of some of the resonance and background noise. It's not perfect, it's not great, but we're writing the rough tracks around here. We write the songs here, we record the initial drafts of the songs here, and then they are sent over to the producer, and he helps us fine-tune the songs in a way that everyone's happy. I've noticed that 40% of you have not subscribed to the channel. I don't know why I'm saying that, but everybody else says it. But it's actually true. Our analytics show 40% of you who watch this channel are not subscribed, which is weird. Why? Might as well just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can keep checking us out. Some of you might be wondering who this guy is that's on camera. My name is Josh. I've been in music my entire life. I've had some really good opportunities, and I decided to turn most of them down so that I could raise a family. Most notably, I was in another band called Thinking Back Looking Forward, and they have released music, and I was the vocalist for that band, and previously I was in a bunch of other local bands as well, but usually as the drummer. If you'd like to check out some of the earlier work that my previous band, Thinking Back Looking Forward, has done, they are on Pandora and Spotify still, as I understand it, so you can always go check that out. And to give an idea of like where I started to where I am now, it's about a 10-year gap between thinking back, looking forward, and recall the moment. I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I wanted to get my name, Recall the Moment's name, and our music out there. And the internet is the best place. And currently, being a dad and a husband, it's very difficult to get the shows all the time. I do go quite often, as much as I can, but with a family, the family comes first and then the band comes second, and that's just the way that it's going to be. Okay, so some future plans for the channel, at least for all of 2024, is that we have some new music coming out next year, 3 songs specifically, possibly a 4th, we'll see. They're currently getting mixed and mastered right now by our producer. We do have some really awesome bands lined up, and musicians, solo musicians, lined up for next year to come on in and do a podcast with and talk with, so that should be really fun. And there's going to be a whole lot of other updates in the future as well. Currently, we have a link tree now, and you can find that through pretty much any social media we have. We've got the Facebook going, the YouTube, the TikTok are mainly where we do everything. On the link tree is a support tab. If you choose to support the things that we are doing, it's a way to donate to the music and the band and help fund things like this podcast so that we can keep doing it. Things that have happened this year that we're very proud of is that we were on the radio every week of October, which is really cool for a first year band. I was very excited, and not to mention we went through a voting thing through the Rock Goddess on Rock Rage Radio, and we actually got #1 for a week, so that was really cool. We've released all the music we wanted to release, and we're all very happy with the way that things worked out. We have a slew of people to thank for all of their participation in it, mainly Eric Blackway for producing, mixing, and mastering everything, Crystal Copeland for doing all of the art and graphics and all the AI stuff that she's put together and fixed up and changed for us, and she really showed us how a music video should go. We tried it on our own. It did not go well. And Nicole Tharp, who has been double checking all of the work, making sure our spelling is correct and that we're doing things the proper way. So those are very notable people. We made t-shirts this year and they sold out instantly. We have no more, but it took less than an hour. So I'm very, very happy with the progress that's been made with this band this year. And we just got a notification from, I can't remember, TubeBuddy. I want to say TubeBuddy, that we officially had 3,000 views on YouTube, which is because of you. So we have you guys to thank. Everybody who sits down and watches this channel every week or every month and keeps up with us and listens to the music, we appreciate you. Thank you. Well, with all that being said, we appreciate every single person who has checked us out this year. Thank you. We love you. We are Recall the Moment. We will see you next year. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And as we've ended every podcast all year for the Recall the Moment stuff, we host this podcast every month, and we release new music every couple of months. And for the new music coming out next year, well, here's a little snippet. Peace and love, y'all.
I'm not afraid of this path.